brought to you by Jazz Wealth. See what we did there with the name? How you doing today? Joining me tonight is, so I've actually never really been excited about Kentucky bourbons. This is Bradshaw, Kentucky bourbon there. I don't know where it ranks on the scale of good, bad, or anything. I just said, let me try a Kentucky bourbon. Asked the guy at the local store there. And yeah, so my partners in crime at work have already tasted it. I have not. And, ooh, it smells sweet, actually. Grab a drink. Come hang out with me. We're going to talk about how millennials should save for retirement. Just going to give you a couple things tonight, right? We're not going to peel off the onion here because there's a lot of things you could do. I see a lot of mistakes, but before we get started, let's see where we're at here. Hey, it's not bad. That's more on the sweet side than the spicy side, if you ask me. I tend to like the spicier bourbons there. That is quite sweet. That'd probably work well in any kind of a mixed drink. I don't know. If you're a Kentucky bourbon guy, let me know if I just broke a cardinal sin there and lost my man card. But I think that would be really good in, that might even be good with someone that wants an old fashioned that says, I want it a little bit sweeter. You might be able to get away with that. Because it's sweeter, not my favorite, I'm going to go 70 on that one. I do like a little bit more spice, but that is enjoyable. Yeah, I would not chase after that, but that is very good, actually. Bradshaw Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. All right, not bad. So let's talk about this. How should millennials invest for retirement? This all stems from this stinking magazine that I was reading. It's the Financial Planning Magazine. I always look at it and I'm like, they tell you how you should prepare your office and stuff for when clients come by and, make sure to offer them coffee and stuff. Look, it's suit and ties everywhere. I mean, they're good looking people, but suit and ties and, just all kinds of stuff in here. I have a hard time getting on with it, but there's an article about millennials. And I touched on this a little bit last night and I got a chance to kind of read through this here. It starts off nice, like we were talking yesterday, and then it goes into, wait a minute, 40, I don't know, where is it? 62% of millennials, according to Prudential Financial, 62% of millennials say they worry about their money on a daily basis, more than any other age group, including the younger generation Z. I'm a millennial. Turns out I'm a millennial there. That's from 1980. Ugh, I don't like being called a millennial, but that's it. Now, the other thing says that most of them are ready for help. 59% of millennials are more than ready than ever to get help. So I said, well, let's help these people, right? I look like David Letterman, right? Let's do our top 10 list. That shows that I'm a millennial. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, I'm going to beat this to death this year, so I hope you're ready for this. If you're not working with an advisor, check this out. You gotta at least work with somebody that offers the ability to start a basic plan for retirement. The D in Get Your Dough Straight stands for develop an initial plan. Doesn't mean you're gonna take action just yet, just means just get that sucker on paper, right? Or digitally these days, right? Us millennials, we know how to say on paper still. This is an actual client. We've called him Louis Armstrong, but just for security. They want to retire at 61, get $318,000, expecting some growth there. They make $150 as a family, not as an individual. And we're saving 5% to our 401k, get 100% match there. They get 100% up to 5%. They're putting $6,000 in their account here with us at Jazz. Thank you, by the way, if you're a shameless plug. Want to join us, jazzwealth.com. Keep in mind, we don't touch your money. We have zero access to steal your money. That's really important these days. You see all the stuff going on out there. Anyways, saving actually, this is more, I'll leave it as this for now, but the client themselves is saving more to other accounts. This is just a brokerage account that they're saving at for future home purchase, but that's what they got. Anyways, 75 in retirement's what they want there. They're expecting less returns because they're taking less risk. They're expecting inflation to be around 3% and other income from Social Security coming in at 67 with normal cost of living increases. And then they've got their house for 100,000. The bottom line is this millennial should not be saving this much. There is no need for them to save 5% into their 401. Well, let's say. There's no need for them to save 5% to their 401k and to be saving $6,000 here at Jazz and the brokerage account. They should keep this 5%, but if you look over here to the right, they can reduce their savings in their Jazz account by $2,950 because their retirement savings is going to last 27.2 years. They only expect to live 25 of those years. So one option is to reduce your 401k, but they're contributing up to the match. So there's no sense in that. You want the free money. No one's going to give that advice and say, oh, back down your 401k. That would be unfiduciary, right? And so what we have here is we're going to tell them now to actually scale this back. I want you to take this $2,950. I want you to hang on to it. I want you to go do other stuff with it. You told me you were going to buy a house. You're putting it in here. Put it in here instead so that you have the money for your house. Don't lock it up in retirement. These people actually did a different scenario. We have multiple scenarios now that we can put in here. And all we really did was delay Social Security. Either way, they're still looking good. If they delay Social Security, they can actually save more. They could back down by $3,346. So step number one for millennials, develop that initial plan and then figure out what you need to save. And if you're saving too much, stop it. Right? Go take that money for other wealth building stuff. Say for your kids' college, the house that this person wants to buy. It's actually a rental property that they want to buy. Okay, let's go make some money over there. Let's diversify. Right? Like the key word you want to use is diversify. All right, so that's tip number one. You've heard me beat that to death, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep hitting you with it this year. That is how we're going to do this. The second thing is a little more controversial, and I'm going to suggest, actually, it comes from this magazine as well. I am going to suggest that you skip the target date funds. Do not invest in the target date funds. You are being lazy by doing this, and you can always do better. You know how I know that? I'm not just being egotistical here. I know that from page 15. So you know how, well, first of all, you know how target date funds came about? So target date funds came about because investors in 401ks are responsible for their own investments. Quick little lesson here, a little history lesson. You're responsible for your own investments. Do you know how many people would start a 401k and would not pick an investment? They just thought it was done for them. So their cash would just go into a cash account for years and years and years. And they got mad. So they go to the 401k company and they go, how come you didn't tell me that I wasn't invested? And they're like, it's not our job. We're just the custodian. We don't really do anything for you. And so people got mad, and no one likes people to be mad at the financial system. A little side topic. Notice how you can't sue a brokerage firm? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen like Dustin Tibbetts sues TD Ameritrade or something because of something on my account? You can't do it. You actually waive your rights to do that. It's not a bad thing, but you can't sue them because we don't want people to lose faith in the financial system. So in other words, people were starting to raise all kinds of hell to the SEC. And they said, well, we got to do something about this because people are losing faith in the financial system. And I think it was BlackRock, to be honest, that came along and said, what if we create a fund that we default people into? But that breaks a rule. There's an ERISA rule that says that your 401k plan provider has to act as a fiduciary. If they were to default you into a fund, then that would mean that they think that's best for you and for everybody, which wouldn't be true. So they said, the generally accepted practice is to take 110 minus someone's age and then take that spread between that stocks, that number, and bonds. Well, what if we made funds that just automatically adjusted based on that stupid formula of 110 minus your age? It used to be 100, and then they changed it to 110. So they said, we'll call them target date funds. And that's what it started as. So that way they're fulfilling their fiduciary obligation, and they can legally default you into that fund. If you don't take any action, they'll put you in that. Is that the best thing for you? Well, it's better than cash. So I don't disagree with that. But what's happening now, page 15 here, Wells Fargo. Yeah, yet another one of these great things Wells Fargo's done. Wells Fargo says, well, there's people coming after us now for choosing these stinking target date funds. Why? Because they're underperforming. Let's get to the goods here. Here is the performance. I did not include Wells Fargo. I'm sorry, but I just realized that when I looked over here. I tried to just pick a few 20, 50 funds just to show comparison. They all basically do the same thing. Some do less than others, but they're right in the same ballpark there. Well, if you're 40 years old and you're too lazy to pick investments, look at the comparison to the Russell 1000. Or you could do the S&P or whatever. I chose the Russell 1000 because it includes all the large caps. It includes NASDAQ as well, some that aren't in the S&P. The performance is basically the same. I think the S&P did like 11.68 over this 10-year window, and this did 11.63. It's the same thing, right? But nonetheless, the purple line is the Russell 1000. Here you are chugging along in your target date fund, defaulted by your 401k plan because you didn't know any better. Honestly, because you were lazy. You just assumed that somehow my money was going to grow and work. And believe it or not, that's a stance you can take with regulators and win the argument. They always, in arbitration, they'll take that side. And so don't be lazy, right? If you're a millennial, let me go back a step. Because of the target date funds in your 401k plans, they have to offer you other funds. Those other funds both have to outperform and underperform because they don't know your age, right? So they offer you every level of target date fund. Then they offer you some funds that do better, some funds that do worse. In case you say like, well, I'm 60 and I don't want to take any risk, so I'll go more for the conservative stuff that still does better than the target dates, but it's maybe less volatile or something. And so you can't say in your 401k, I don't have that option. You have to. And if you don't, I just don't even know anybody that does, but you have to have that option. So it's all on you to make that adjustment. And you know, it's not hard. We actually, part of our services, our clients here, we just link up to their 401ks, kick those people off, and we'll manage that for them. We call it all that jazz, meaning all that jazz. We're here for you to manage everything. So if you're one of our clients, I just do it for you. Just let me know or go sign up in the dojo. But it's really easy for most retail platforms, meaning if you have a 401k plan that's got a Vanguard package, right? And they use them. All you have to do, likely, is take the target date fund and say, that's what I have now. I'm considering changing to these other funds. And you could sort of stage those funds ahead of time. And you could just see the performance versus what the target date fund is compared to what you've come up with. So if you don't know a whole lot, you can still get in there and outperform. And again, these are significant differences in returns. Annualized returns of the target date funds, call it 8%. Right, between 7.5 and 8.8, a little over 8% if we took an average blended rate there. The Russell 1000 or any growth, large cap growth sort of funds in there, you're finding many percent more. I'll round this up and say 12, right? So we've got about a 4% difference if we take the average and then we just round up. Let's call it 3.5 so nobody gets mad at me, right? 3.5% returns. So there's a little difference here. Why would that make a difference? Well, what were we just doing? If I could figure the right button, here it is. What were we just doing? We were assuming returns. We were also assuming retirement returns. Are we assuming target date returns? Could we improve that number? Of course we can improve. You can improve that number. Could we improve this number? I wouldn't go over here just yet. You may feel differently about the risk you take in retirement than you do now at 41 years old. Yeah, that's probably a fair statement. So, number one, develop that initial plan. If this is a video, right? This is marketing. So if you happen to consider Jazz, we'll take care of you. Obviously, you're welcome to schedule a call right on our website and just see if we're a good fit. But figure out that new plan, initial plan, rough draft. Tip number 2, go into your workplace plans. Don't be lazy. Take an extra minute and go, what if I did 50% in this one and 50% in this one? If I put those returns together and I annualize them, does it beat the target date fund? I think you'll be pretty impressed. It'll be worth your time, let's put it that way. All the time we spend saying, I'm not going to pay an advisor 0.5%. Okay, there's people that won't do it. But if you go into your 401k plan now and you can make an extra 2, 3, 4%, that's the value I want to add. That's the type of advisor I want to be. I don't necessarily need to touch that account. It's yours. Go do it. You got the skills now. You got the homework. If I can add that value, imagine what we can do for you or for clients on a daily basis. What if you have a question about let's go way out there. Let me think of something real quick. What if you want an escrow waiver? Do you know what an escrow waiver is? What if that's something you need help with, but they want to charge you? Like things like that. I can add value there by getting you around that without having to pay anything, hopefully. And then you take care of business on your own, right? I love that stuff. Love it. Anything that touches your dough, I'm happy to help with. Otherwise, I'll wish you guys a good rest of your day. I may have to skip out on Friday's class here, this sort of Jazz After Dark. It's some family stuff happening this weekend. I should be able to do Thursday, but I'm trying to block off my time. It's just not working out for me. So I'm thinking maybe Friday I will have to skip this. But do you enjoy the Jazz After Dark? Is it good for you? It's always good for me. I'm sitting at home making a video. I'm happy as can be. It's like the old days, man, when I used to do these. You look back way in the beginning when we started. I was just at home, man. I made a nice little background. Oh, that's a nice background. But I hope you're enjoying this. And I appreciate the subscriptions. I appreciate you keeping us in mind for jazzwealth.com. And hopefully you're learning as well. Big deal. Learn a little bit more here in 2023. Take the time to do it and enjoy the rest of your evening. Adios.